I want to share with you briefly about the pleasures of God. And many of us have this wrong view of God, that he is this aloof, angry God that is up in the heavens, that is hard for me to relate to. And a lot of that is because we have a wrong view of God. The other thing in place that we have wrong about God is many times we don't understand that he has many different emotions. And so a lot of times the way we approach God in our life in prayer and even church is duty. It's this religious going through the motions, but we don't realize that God's heart is an ocean of emotion. And that's a good rhyme. It's an ocean of emotion. If you look in Psalm 16, David actually says, "At your right hand are eternal pleasures." Eternal pleasures are at your right hand. Being around God and knowing God is not a boring thing. There is an ocean of pleasure and delight that's better actually than the pleasures of this world. Song of Song, I love when the bride, she says, your love is better than wine. Wine is a symbolic of something that is pleasureful in this life, that helps take our mind off of all of our cares and anxieties. And she's saying that your love is better than that wine. It's pleasureful. It's joyful. Isaiah 56 says, "You will give us joy in your house of prayer." One of my favorite passages in the Bible is in Isaiah 62. In Isaiah 62, I'm not going to go in depth on that, but right in the first couple verses, in verse 4, 5, and 6, he's talking about the redemption of Israel. But he says in that day that just as a bridegroom rejoices over the bride, so your God will rejoice over you. Now think about that. The wedding day for many is one of the most blissful, ecstatic, joyful occasions. That honeymoon phase, that wedding phase, the way you're rejoicing and how deeply in love you are is one of the most powerful emotional times that you'll ever experience in your life. Well, the Bible in Isaiah 62 says God rejoices over you just like that. Think about that, what type of emotion and love and desire and delight he has in us, and his emotions are greater than anything we can actually ever experience. And here's the reason I'm sharing this. If you will get into some of those passages and begin to set your heart to study God's emotions and how he feels about you, his delight over you. He actually gives Israel, which you are part of, a new name called Hephzibah, which means my delight is in her. If you will begin to study that, it's going to begin to transform your emotions and how you relate to God. You're going to start to find prayer and your walk with Jesus not as a boring, mundane thing, but you'll begin to find it as a joyful, pleasureful thing. If you'll begin to behold and meditate on and study out the emotions, the delight, the pleasure, the affections of God the Father, I promise you, it will transform your heart and your walk with him.